Inventory placement refers to the decision of where in our supply chain we must place how much of our inventory. Let us say I am in the business of selling jeans. I hold a lot of inventory to conduct this business. Here is one particular style of jeans. In this style, there are 5 different sizes that I carry in inventory. For another style, I carry 10 different sizes. For yet another style, I carry 8 different sizes. Likewise, I carry several different styles of jeans. For any particular style, each different size I carry is a distinctly separate item that I want to track as a stock keeping unit, or SKU. For each SKU that I carry, I hold several units in inventory. So that works out to a lot of pairs of jeans sitting in inventory. My inventory starts out in a central warehouse. From there, every week I move it in truckloads to my 5 retail outlets, which are closer to my demand points. From these retail outlets, I am able to serve my customers. Let us consider the sales pattern of one particular size of one particular style of jeans. For this SKU, each of my 5 outlets registers a different demand each week. However, looking across all my retail outlets, the total sales for this item usually stays quite consistent at about 10 pairs per week. That is, each store sells, on average, 2 pairs of this item per week. Even though each store sells an average of 2 items per week, I cannot simply stock each store with only 2 items at the beginning of the week. Given the variable demand pattern, each store sells 0 to 10 pairs per week. To make sure that I don't turn away customers, I decide to stock 10 pairs on each store shelf at the beginning of the week. Therefore, I start each week with 50 pairs of this SKU, sell 10 pairs, and end the week with 40 pairs. My average inventory is 45 pairs, out of which cycle inventory is 5 pairs and safety stock is 40 pairs. My inventory turns over once every 4.5 weeks. This kind of arrangement is called forward placement. The bulk of my inventory is placed close to my end customers at a downstream point in my supply chain. An alternative arrangement would be to stock the bulk of my inventory in my central warehouse and ship it on an as-needed basis directly to my customers. This kind of arrangement is called centralized placement. At the warehouse level, the demand fluctuation for a particular SKU is much smaller than at the individual store level. The pluses and minuses get averaged out, leaving me with a more steady demand of 10 pairs per week. Therefore, I can achieve my sales of 10 pairs per week, carrying only 10 items in my central warehouse. My cycle inventory is half of 10, or 5 pairs, so my inventory turns over twice every week. By changing from forward placement to centralized placement, I was able to reduce my inventory and still sell the same volume per week because of what is known as inventory pooling. At this upstream point in my supply chain, the pluses and minuses of the individual stores get averaged out. The downside with this arrangement, however, is that my responsiveness to customers is considerably reduced. Instead of satisfying the customer's demand instantly, with an item available right off the shelf, there will be a time lag while I ship the item out. As well, instead of transporting large quantities by truckload once a week to each store, I will now have to ship out each individual pair of jeans. That is sure to increase my transportation costs. As we can see from the above example, The appropriateness of forward or centralized inventory placement will depend on the situation, the kind of item, and the market segment being served. In many instances, it may be important to have the items readily available in front of the customer. Greater responsiveness may be particularly important where margins are higher or the customer makes the purchase on an impulse. In other cases, it may be possible to adequately serve the customer from a centralized location. A good example of this kind of arrangement is provided by online shopping. The above discussion related forward and centralized inventory placement to a retail level example. However, inventory placement is not limited to a comparison of online versus brick-and-mortar shopping. Generalizing beyond the above example, we can apply the same principles across the entire supply chain. Suppose our company is operating at a tier in the supply chain that is well upstream of the retail level. We serve several industrial customers from our factory. We are probably not likely to consider impulse purchasing as a strong justification to employ forward placement. However, if we used forward placement and shipped the orders from strategically located distribution centers, we could provide greater responsiveness and timeliness. We would need a much greater inventory level to achieve the same volume of sales. Instead, if we used centralized placement, we could serve each customer order directly from the factory. That way, we would minimize the inventory required to achieve the same volume of sales. However, our responsiveness and timeliness would decrease while our transportation costs would increase.